welcome everybody to another episode of the Future of BizTech. I am your host, JC Granger, and I have the pleasure of interviewing Woody Klemetson, who is the founder of AskElephant. Woody, thank you so much for being on the show. Tell the audience a little bit about yourself and what is it that AskElephant does?
Hey, thanks, Jason. Woody, the founder of AskElephant. I've been building go-to-market teams for about 20 years now. And after I built a small company called Divvy here in Utah, acquired by Bill for about $2.5 billion.
Oh, is that all? It's
Yeah,
just a couple billion-dollar company that no, it's fine. We'll just gloss over that super quick. Keep going.
we'll probably talk a little bit about that as we continue the story. But after building that go-to-market, I wanted to solve the problems that I had. So I, went in and built AskElephant, which is hyper focused on customer-facing teams and the data and knowledge sharing between between the organizations. So we work with a lot of customer success teams and sales teams.
So, from what I understand, you guys build out AI agents. And this is a big topic right now, right? I mean, like AI agents it's almost hard to keep up with, to be completely honest, right? It's so overwhelming of a topic because it's moving so fast and it has so many different things it can be used for. What is the philosophy that you guys follow? Who are you specifically building these for, and who's utilizing them? Like, what lane are you picking in this very fast moving, very broad field?
Well, I'm going to answer a question before I answer your question.
Okay.
I think the AI agents and the word AI right now makes it feel like hey, it can do everything. So let's just have AI do it. Just have AI do it. And there's a lot of confusion around that with all new technologies like AI has been for the last couple of years. So the first most important thing is that we're not building agents to replace humans. We're building agents and agentic workflows to empower humans. And there's a big difference from how those are being developed and how they're being designed, which we care a lot about. And that human connection aspect of it and trying to preserve that and continue to scale that is where we're hyper focused.
So how are you doing that? Because I got to tell you, like, I'm glad you brought this up in this way, because right now, I mean, I don't think people completely appreciate how fast jobs are going to start dropping off a cliff. And I don't think it's going to come from, I don't think it's going to come from being replaced as much as companies freezing hiring in general. I think there's going to be such a freeze that's the first step. I think that's where people be locked out of getting new jobs. And so and a lot of them, like, I mean, Amazon, as of I think yesterday or this morning, the CEO basically said that, I mean, like, to everyone at Amazon that, hey, by the way, AI and the agents and whatnot are going to be making most of you irrelevant. I'm paraphrasing, but Amazon employees were like, see, we knew it was coming, and their fear was that they were training their own replacements. But with your model, you're saying that you're trying to enable the human aspect. How are you doing that? And then what is your take on how fast jobs are being replaced by this technology in general?
So this is a fun topic because how you articulate it can change if it's a scary thing or an exciting thing.
Hmm.
So if you are an individual who's doing data entry, your job is no longer as relevant. From I take data from here to put it here. If half of your job was data entry, then half of your job has now been automated. And so there's certain aspects that all of us have done, which is just office admin work, which is going to go away. If that's the thing that you were specialized in, then I would be curious about what you want to do next. And so when we work with customer facing teams, like when I'm onboarding and implementing someone, it used to take an hour to prep myself to be able to know who am I talking with, what did they purchase, why did they purchase it, what is their problems. I need to reach out to the solutions engineer, I need to talk to the sales reps, I need to review their emails, I need to go get myself informed enough so I can help this customer. That now can take 30 seconds. So if I was onboarding 2, 3 customers a day because of the amount of admin work prior to meeting with them and then post meeting with them that I need to take care of, I can now do 6 or 7. So what we're seeing is that the individuals that are now going faster with the tools that they're choosing to implement, that they're not being replaced. They're the ones that are actually being empowered and being asked to do more.
So they're being so the agents that you're creating are to help enable current employees to be more productive, to allow the company to scale without having to necessarily let them go, essentially, right?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
And
Go ahead.
agentic workflows. If you look at your job and you really, really think about it, if you're running a process that every single morning I do this, then this, then this, then this, AI can either replace it or replace that part. And so we build workflows that replace the work that's not specialized for you, but you have to do so you can be special.
Got it. Okay. Well, let's take a step back here. What
Yeah.
even made you want to start Ask Elephant, and how did the name come across too? So like, I mean, I know you obviously you exited a very large company beforehand, and maybe you can touch on that a little bit if you
Yeah.
want to. But I'm just curious, like when you thought, okay, this is the next thing I want to do, and what did that look like? And then again, how did you get to the name?
Well, when you are lucky enough to build the go to market for a team that went from 0 to 400 million in 4 years, super, super fast growth. When I started, there was less than 30 employees. When I left, I had 350 on my team.
Wow.
Um, so all of the problems that I had was because data accidentally becomes silo, information becomes silo. So as the marketing team is working on something, it's impossible for sales to know everything that's going on with that other department. And so one of the things that I did, and I actually had people on my team that was their main job, is like just like as ambassadors with these other departments of like these relationships are so important. We need people who have time to actually understand what's going on the other side of the fence. And when you're going from 0 to 400 that quickly, like information accidentally becomes siloed.
Sure.
And so I wanted to create an AI that never forgot, that was empowering people to be in the know and know what they need to know when they need to know it.
So the memory of an elephant.
The
Elephant
memory of the
memory. Okay, all right, I like that.
result.
When you were starting out though, right, there's always rough roads. I mean, you obviously had success coming out of the last company. But what kind of speed bumps and hurdles and walls did you come across when you were starting the company? And then how old is it now? I'm just curious how long you guys have been around as well.
So we've been around just under 2 years. I had the idea July 1st of 2023. So I already have already
This
left.
oddly specific date. Why is that important? That you know that very specifically. Why what happened
I,
that day other than that?
I was out running and listening to a book, and like all the pieces just clicked. That I was like, oh my gosh, like this is now possible with technology, or will be possible with technology in the next coming year or two. Like like what should I do here? And so I had the idea after my run. I went home, I called somebody and I said, hey, I'll pay you a couple grand to build a proof of concept for this. And I said, it needs to be done by July 4th. So I remember because of like,
In
is
3 days.
I
Jesus, Woody, there's cracking that whip.
like, if you want the job, great. If you don't, I'll find someone else.
Yeah.
So I contracted 2 people, like they worked straight for 3 days, the end of like, and we had a proof of concept that I was like, holy shit, this is going to work. And so I worked on it, and that's what got me excited and motivated to dive in. Sold our first customer in August. And there was no engineer yet. I just had the proof of concept, and then I hired humans to manually become everyone's second brain for a little bit. And or they I was like, if I can make humans be super fast at searching and finding and having access to the data, then I can at some point train an AI to do it. And so we sold a couple customers, and then we started building in October of 23. I did have to separate from my original co-founder in February, brought in went to Jasper AI. I had some friends there, and brought in a staff engineer that was already a little bit more familiar with AI. And that's brought in my now co-founder to be able to go out and build it. So that started about March of 24 is when I feel like we actually started.
What are some of the speed bumps you hit along the way here? I mean, that's I got the origin story. So
Yeah.
where'd you hit the wall a little bit there? There's always something. There's always something.
I when you're running through a wall, I haven't found the other edge of the wall yet. I think I'm still. Um,
Still going through bricks.
so I, the to be a founder and to be an entrepreneur or an entrepreneur, not just for founders out there, like if you're not running through a wall, like you're honestly probably wasting your time. Like that is something you should be doing. So I've had thousands of walls in the last 2 years. Again, like finding the right partner to build with was hard, and making sure that you have the right person. Deciding if I should fundraise or not, fundraising, finding that first customer, finding the fifth customer, the sixth customer, then okay, will someone who's not a friend buy it? Selling the first non-friend, which took 60 days or whatever it was without a product to get someone to part with their money, is something you have to overcome. And then like right now, it's the noise of the market. Like hey, what do you do? Well, we're an AI company. Oh, okay, cool. Like
Yep.
everyone is at this point. And so when you're growing in a bubble and you're in the bubble, there's so much noise. And like every single company, people don't, they want to just think they have the answer. All of us do. And so if right now, as we go to market, I don't know if the word AI is helpful or hurtful half the time.
That's a good point, actually. You're right, because it's kind of a coin flip. Whether it's harmful, because it's like this complete disease of choice.
Yeah.
There's just so much that it's overwhelming, and when humans get overwhelmed, they freeze. They just do nothing. They don't even pick the other thing or even continue with the thing they were gonna do. They just stop until they can get their bearings. And that is, you're right. I mean, it's going so fast and there's so much that what I've found personally is I think that the service side of solving the problem, that never gets old. The mentioning the how, it's kind of like no one cares how the sausage is made. Just give me the hot dog. You know what I mean? So I mean, maybe a little side advice, like maybe, if you feel like AI is getting in the way, then it might just be from a marketing perspective of just the problem that's solved, right? How it's solved, I think trips people up, especially when they hear AI and things or agentic. But let's talk about the problem you solve and how you specifically do this. So, like, what does it look like if I'm a prospective client? What would it look like the process if I hired you? Like, what's like that onboarding process? Like, what do you need from me? What are you then doing? How fast does it happen?
Well, it's actually extremely exciting. We talk with companies that have an implementation team. So like our ICP, which is extremely important to know always, not just when you're building in the bubble. So it's like who is the customers that you're helping? If you have an implementation team, there's a few things it tells us about your business. One is that you have longer term relationships. You're offering a service. And so you care about the human aspect of it. You need to help someone else through change management, which is hard. And so we hyper focus on that. And then we go in and we say, okay, what is the information that you're missing to make it so that your time to value we can cut that down by a third or two-thirds or three-thirds. And they say, because every implementation team hates the sales team because they just throw the deal over the fence and then the information gets lost. That's the first problem we solve is like, great, here's an AI agent that can make sure that it's trained at gathering whatever data you need so you can show up and have everything prepared to onboard that customer so your time to value is cut down. You should never ask the same question to a customer twice. And
Mm.
so let's completely, take care of that and automate that. So we go in, we just talk about, okay, what information do you need? Walk me through the questions that you're asking. What is like, do you have an onboarding worksheet or checklist? And we then have, great, we train the agent on it. We get that one up and going. So that's the first thing. And then we have a bunch of fun delighters that we love to throw in there just because people don't even know how to think about what information is locked up right now. And so we have this quote agent that's monitoring all of your communication across all of your platforms. And then if a customer ever says something cool about a person or a product, it notifies the whole company in the channel. And so you're constantly getting good feedback and hearing these good vibes from your product and from about your teammates that AI is just finding in your data.
Well, so like if I'm the CEO of a SaaS company and I have a big customer service team and they're in a chat with someone who goes, "Oh, by the way, this feature's amazing. I love it. Can you add this also? And thank you so much. It's just something really positive.
Yeah,
Like the CEO could get pinged if he wanted to see that, right? Like in real time.
yeah, it happens already. That's what
Oh, that's
like
cool. That is cool.
you like there what information is locked up in silos. It's
Yeah.
customer quotes, product feedback, competitor analysis, case studies. And so if you have an agent that's monitoring your back, watching your six, what information could be unlocked? And that's where people hire Ask Elephant.
You could even do automated testimonials feeding to the website or social media in real time based on good feedback conversations being had with a client using maybe only their first name and last initial or something. Because it is a real quote and it was recorded. And you could just, if it's good enough, you just feed it right over and all of a sudden you've got a new testimonial quote just like that. Boom, boom on the website or the social media. I could just see so many possibilities with this. So my brain's kind of going a little wiry right now, which is cool, right? This is what's cool about the podcast, right? I get to hear about all the good new shit. Um, let's
Well,
talk. Oh, go ahead.
I'm, I love where you were going with that, but I want to, for those people who are going to steal my idea and create a copycat from this is the secret sauce. This is what you need to know so you can go copy us.
All right.
Is that there's triggers in conversations, but it's not all the data. So your AI has to be trained on, JC just said this trigger that he really likes Ask Elephant. Now what? So now you need to go look at the whole history of the customer to be able to understand like what is the story behind why he said that? What was the problem that it actually solved?
The
That's
context.
you have to go get all of the context, every email, every transcript, every customer support ticket, all of the data to then actually understand, is that a good quote? Was that just in passing? What's the context around that? So that's when it's like automated case studies is now done for our customers. You want automated case studies that can tell you what problem they had, how the software solved it, and their positive outcome because of it, because they said one compliment at the end of it, is the way
That's
that's.
really cool. Yeah. And is the system, I imagine it is, but I'm going to ask anyway. Is the
Yeah.
system when someone starts, is it only from that point forward, or can it go through all the history of all emails, any recorded calls, Slack, does it go backward in time? And then if so, how far back to get a baseline on the client when you're installing this?
It's a great question. As long as the information is recorded somewhere, we usually can capture it. The triggers are happening for future sense. So it's like new conversations are the triggers, but those are just the triggers. That's not all the context. So we do have access to most people's historical context.
Awesome. And what are you guys doing right now to get the word out, right? So you said you're under 2 years old, so obviously you're in that kind of growth path, right? You're on a podcast, cool, PR check. What else you got? You guys doing SEO, LinkedIn, email, SMS? I mean, what kind of marketing are you guys doing for yourselves?
Well, luckily I get to make a plug here, so thanks for teaming me up. We are hiring our first head of marketing. We have spent $0 on marketing this far.
Wow,
Already have captured over 200 companies and have over $1 million of revenue, and that has
wow,
been with $0 of marketing. And everything we've done has been social proof and social selling because that's how I like to buy. So I like as a founder, it's not bad to just be you. So sell to you, sell to like like to figure
Yeah.
out what would I do, what would I like. And so we've had a lot of success through social proof, social selling. We have an agent that tells us when we should ask someone to post about us on LinkedIn. And so we are constantly during conversations, like my CS team is asked, like, hey, that was a thank you so much for that compliment. Will you post that on LinkedIn to help share the word? That has allowed us to be able to grow all organically.
That's awesome. And well, I mean, I guess that brings me to my next question is kind of what are your goals? Now you've hired this head of marketing. Is your goal revenue based? Is it client based? Is it lead based? What kind of weight is on the shoulders of this poor individual who just came in now?
Well, if they're listening, hopefully it's one of them. Um, the weight is really looking at like unlocking first the marketing flywheels because we're involved and we're helping these client facing team members with all of these engagements. So every single day there's 10,000 hours a day or meetings or interactions that we're part of. What can we do to add value to that so that way that organically shares the word without being annoying? Because right now you have some of these other tools that might be recording your calls that they're like sending marketing material before your meeting to that person, and it's
Dang.
again it's negative interactions. And so there's a positive way to do that. That's the first problem that they're going to solve. Second is just get us to the basics, like do some SEO, do like now
Yeah.
it's going to be AEO for agents, engine optimization, but like there's a lot of low hanging fruit because we've literally done none. We are just starting off with there, and the success has just been all organic.
Yeah, that AEO is going to be interesting. I mean, I don't, here's the thing, I've been in digital marketing 25 years. I don't think I've ever seen a vertical of digital marketing be irrelevant so fast overnight than SEO is today. I mean, we're talking months, maybe weeks, and it just went from everything's great, and then it was like everyone's like, oh no, let's just ask GPT. Or then when Google and started putting the LLM, answers at the top, and then people just stopped scrolling ever. I mean, it just fell off a cliff. But where there is something that goes away, something has to fill the gap. So what is exciting about it to me is that there's something new to learn. It's the Wild West. SEO is the Wild West again, right? Because I remember that was back in like the early 2000s is when it was the Wild West, and now it's the same spot because no one really knows. They're not telling anyone, right? They're not giving up the secret sauce of what their algorithms are going to prioritize. So it's like let's figure it out, and I think that's cool from the AEO perspective, though.
I also think that they don't know how it's prioritizing it.
Yeah,
This
we're all learning.
he doesn't know why it being pulls up the different things.
Yeah.
Um, and there's pros and cons to that. I think the pro is like you now have to write helpful content. It's not about writing just mass content or like trying to sneak in keywords. So at what is your ICP asking GPT? What is it asking? When it uses the search function and it's now using deep research and it's using these things, it is using your content. If you're willing to make it so that you're putting that stuff out there and you can have be the source that's doing it.
Yeah.
And with Perplexity, they're citing their sources. You can still get those clicks and you're not having to pay for the ad. You're because like the SEO is now actually more relevant. You just have to do it differently. And the market's been completely turned upside down.
Yeah, it's funny you say the word relevant. I'm sorry, relevant. Helpful. Because previously I've always told people that SEO came down to Google basically chooses the most relevant result for any given search. And although relevancy and helpfulness have a big overlap in a Venn diagram, there is a difference still. And it's that difference is growing now, And what's interesting about what you said is that, it's like, hey, what are you willing to the helpful content you're willing to kind of basically give away for free so that they know that you are the one that should be referenced. And that's actually kind of been a model that I've always told people. I've always said it's actually an old Frank Kern model. He said, always give away your best shit for free, right? And he's like, you charge to take the time to do it for them. You don't charge because they couldn't figure it out. You got YouTube, you got the internet. Anyone could figure out what to do. but they don't have the time. He's like, so just give away all the best shit for free. And so that's how they know that you know what you're talking about, right? And that is the helpful content. And it just looks like now the future of search is basically that model. It's give away the really helpful stuff for free so that you become the relevant result because now that language model knows that you must know what you're talking about because you haven't held any of it back, right?
Yeah. So for those that are listening, FAQs, like do a lot more FAQs because they're looking for question answers. People are not searching keywords, they're asking questions. And so the search is now different. And then the second one is infographics, images, because Perplexity and those want to show more. They don't want to be a wall of text. And so
Yeah.
like be the content that's tagged and appropriately there so that the answer is in an image. So that the way that Perplexity pushes that up so that they feel like they're being more helpful to their users as well. Like it's all about just being helpful though, not relevant, helpful. I love that. I
That,
love
that's
talking about that.
yeah, that's really, really good advice. Where do you this is like my favorite question of the whole podcast, especially for this episode, just given the topic. If you had a magic 8 ball and you shook it and said, okay, where's the technology going for the next 2 years? Which I mean, it's dog years that we're in right now, right? It's like a 7-to-1 ratio in real time. But where do you see the technology that you are implementing? Do you see like like what kind of innovative things do you think are coming? Where do you see this going, either between with your company or even just with competition in the industry as a whole?
Yeah. The first thing is that data is now free. Like integrations, access to data, things that like there's whole software companies that were built just on like trying to get data from one system to another. I think that's going to go to zero very quickly. That's why you're seeing Salesforce locking down Slack and Slack changing their policies so that like Glean is like they're trying to protect, like the big dogs are trying to protect their data. I don't think they're going to succeed at that, but I like that's where all of them are going to be pushing to be able to say like, no, we want to now be the only solution. So we're going to lock down we're going to lock down your data in our system, which is just not going to work because it's not their data. But that's the first thing is like you're not going to build a moat because you integrate with something. Integrations are going to are going to be free where that data is now there. You're seeing some really cool stuff with the way that AI agents are using and searching those different tools. So that's the first thing that I think is going to go. The second thing is this is exactly what happened when it came to Google is when you search like getting the answer is now so easy that people are now trying to figure out what's next. Now that I have the answer, what do I do with the answer?
Yeah.
We used to spend so much of our time trying to just get the answer that we would sometimes hire someone else to go do the answer. And my job was to find the answers. Your job is to go implement it. And I think those now are completely, they're all now together. Getting the answers now easy, implementing it is hard, follow through is hard. And you're going to see AI help enable that. But for humans, like our job is going to be actually driving action and being the best people that are at that are implementing AI to remove anything that's preventing them from action are the ones that are going to succeed in the next 2-3 years.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Yeah, it's just fascinating where it's all going and just how unpredictable it can be. Like we have ideas of where it's going to go, and then by the time you get there, there's always something that pops up. But I do agree with you also this whole trend of companies trying to lock down their data. I'm like what are you doing? Like I mean, get on board or get out of the way because the fact is you can lock down your data, but that same data is going to exist in overlaps in other areas. And then those people, if they give it away, they're going to be brought forward and you're going to be left behind. Right.
Yep.
Like I get the tendency. If it's temporary, if someone says, I want to lock it down until we just figure out what the plan is, okay. But that's a short amount of time. It should be, right? It shouldn't be a permanent policy because it's like that old guard trying to hold on to power. And it's like, buddy, the world's moving. It's on axis. It's spinning, you know?
The companies don't own the data. We have access to people's data, but like
Mhm.
it's not our data. Like the conversation you and I are having that, whatever software tool you're using to record it, like it has this conversation, but it doesn't own this conversation. And so
Exactly.
Slack has the all the conversational data, but they don't own it. And so if I own the data and I want it out and you add too much friction for me to be able to use my own data for my own good, then people are going to switch and those companies are going to suffer.
Yeah, and they might go to courts, as well, but then that just kind of damages the brand, in my opinion, as well. If you have to, people are fighting you for it and suing you over it, and you're trying to sue them back, like it becomes a negative feedback loop.
I agree.
Yeah. Well, let's wrap up with this. I mean, you've done a big exit before with a big company from almost scratch, right? You've started this new one. Um, you're in a field that is rapidly growing and changing at light speed. By the time I even air this episode, it's going to be different, right? What advice, because you kind of brought up earlier, cheekily that for anyone listening who wants to copy you, here's how to do it right so you don't mess it up. What advice, I guess, would you give to people who are either trying to copy you or just people who want to maybe integrate this technology or even, how do they tell the difference between your company and another one? Like, what kind of advice can you give tech professionals that are trying to figure out how to utilize this technology properly?
Well, first, it will just be a call to all of your listeners. Like you've have guys, I'm not the first person you've heard it from, and I'm not going to be the last person you hear it from, but choose to listen. That like you need to learn how to build agentic workflows that can help you evolve. Like there's a big argument over agents versus workflows, and like there's a ton of like stuff that are happening there. Workflows everyone can build.
Mhm.
Like it's draw a flow chart of like on a whiteboard and then go turn that into a workflow. So the first thing is like don't wait to learn how to build workflows and how to be able to start automating and being smart enough to know what your process is that you want to turn into like that can be automated by a workflow. Those are the people who are going to take over this next evolution. And so that's the first thing. It's the advice is go build workflows. Everything you're doing might be a workflow, so go try to turn it into one. The second thing is don't think about what you wish you could do faster today so you can go golf. Now challenge yourself, be curious and ask yourself what has been locked up that now is unlocked. Now that most people don't think that every conversations have customer quotes, churn alerts, and case studies, triggers, and all those things. And so it's like challenge yourself to be curious to say what data is locked that I just haven't. The technology wasn't there to now give me access. Unlock those things so you can just be more, and so you can keep up. Because if you don't outgrow the curve, it will outgrow you, and that's the scariest thing.
That is a powerful quote. If you don't outgrow the curve, it outgrow you, and it's very true. Um, where can people find you personally, Woody, if they heard something profound where they want to reach out for big partnership or anything like that? And then also, where can they find Ask Elephant?
Well, first off, LinkedIn, Woody Klemetson, here in Utah. You go like, subscribe, smash that notification button or whatever I'm supposed to do. And then AskElephant.ai. If you are a customer facing team and you need help to figure out what's our AI workflow strategy, then we're the right guys to talk to.
That's awesome. And listen, for everyone else out there listening today, thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Future of Biz Tech. And hey, give it a 5-star rating if you really liked this. If you liked me, if you liked Woody, or if not, I don't give a shit. Just give me a 5-star rating anyway, because that's how cool, fun tech nerds like us find awesome podcasts like this. Woody, thank you so much again for being on the show. I'd love to talk to you post show about this more because my brain's going wild here, and I'm trying to think of ways to use this for my company too.
Cool. Sounds good.
Thanks, buddy.